Hey, year 10s, thanks for coming along. Right, guys, nice quick lesson today. Just a quick assessed homework review, and then I'm going to start the process of looking at electrolysis. Ooh, that's going to be the afterwards. Okay, let's share screen. Let's crack on. Let's get this done. Amazing. Right, share screen. Get rid of my face. And there we go. Right, let's be really quick. Nice and short lesson today, folks. Okay. I'm going to go for red. There we go. So, fill in the missing words or passage. Ions are particles that have a different number of protons and electrons. 1 mark. Ions are electrically charged. Ions can be formed when a metal reacts with a non-metal. Metal atoms lose. Metals always lose electrons to form positive ions. Non-metals gain electrons and form negative ions. I like it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like it. First question out of 5. Should be nice and quick. Next, which of the following compounds have an ionic structure? So, no, only non-metals. Only non-metals. Yes for copper oxide, metal. Non-metal. Yes for zinc bromide. And no for ammonia. 2 marks. 1 for each correctly labeled. If you mark one that's not correct, you lose a mark. It's negatively marked, that one, guys. 2 marks for both of those 2 only. 1 mark if you get 1 wrong. And then 0 marks if you get 2. You get the point. Next. Okay. On the electronic structures of these ions on the diagrams. Right. Okay, so we've got to check the periodic table for this one. Periodic table. So we know that magnesium, it's all about the table. Shell 1, shell 2, shell 3. It's got 3 shells. How many are in my thing? I have 2. And that's because it's lost electrons. Right. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 plus. So that's 2 marks, guys. I'll show you where the marks come from. All of these guys being correct and 1 mark for the charge. Right, oxide ion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 originals, and then it gains 2, and that becomes 2 minus. So 2 marks, 1 for all of these dot and crosses being correct. By the way, if you've reversed, just going to get rid of that one. First, like and comment. You're so funny, Jack. If you've reversed the dots and crosses, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference where you start. If you started with dots and then went to crosses, that's fine. As long as those 2 are as shown there, we're good. Right, explain what the formula of MgO means for every 1 Mg2 plus. For every 1 magnesium ion, there is 1 oxide ion. That's it. That's all it tells us. It tells us that Mg, there's an invisible 1 there and a visible 1 there. They're in the ratio of 1 to 1. There is 1 oxide for every 1 magnesium 2 plus ion. Next, by the way, if you say the word atom, you immediately lose it. So that's only 1 mark, by the way. It's only 1 mark. Yeah, only 1 mark. And if you make any mistakes, how much marks? Yeah, sorry, just 1. There are loads of different ways of saying that. You can say there is 1 oxide ion for every 1 magnesium ion. You can say that the ions are in a 1 to 1. They'd allow that. The magnesium and oxide ions are in a 1 to 1 ratio. They'd allow that. But I just, like, if you had this one, if you had Al2O3, you would say for every two, no, I shouldn't write numbers, for every two aluminium 3+ ions, there is 3 oxide ions. That's what it tells us. Yeah, okay. Next, explain why ionic compounds have high melting points. Right, so they haven't actually given us an actual compound here. They've just said in general, so that's great. It's 5 marks, and yes, I'm sorry about the lack of space. So structure, yeah, ionic compounds. Ionic compounds have a giant ionic lattice structure. 1 mark. 1 mark. Comma. Right, structure, bonds. So how many marks was 3 worth? In total, sorry. In total, question 3 is worth 5. Because 2 for each of these. 2 for each of these and 1 for that one. So out of 5. Good question. Cool. Okay, next. So bonds. Held together by the electrostatic attraction between opposite charge ions. 1 mark. Next, this attraction is very strong. This attraction is very strong. Comma, 1 mark. There are millions. There are millions of attractions. 1 mark. Lots of energy. Lots of energy needed to break all attractions. And they're just about, we're done. So out of 5, give yourself out of 5. Does it need to be the exact same words? No, Lauren, it doesn't. As long as it's saying the right thing. Lauren, I will happily check your answer and I'll mark it. I'm going to check them all anyway. When you guys put your scores in, I go back and I check them anyway. Explain why ionic compounds conduct electricity when melted or dissolved in water. Bullet point number 1. So this is 2 marks. When molten or in solution, the ions are free to move. 1 mark. Ions are free to move. There's the key bit. Ions are free to move. Yeah. Bullet point number 2. Free to move. To carry. Now you have to say that word. The second mark, you cannot get the second mark without that word. To carry the charge through the structure. Second mark. 2 marks for that one. Next, C. Explain why ionic compounds do not conduct as solids. First mark. Ions are not free to move. 1 mark. Ions are not free to move, so cannot carry charge through the structure. You realize it is just literally the reverse of the previous one. Yeah, so cannot carry charge through the structure. 2 marks. Same question, just reversed. I wonder how many people freaked out. 2 there. Which of the following substances are ionic? This is 1 mark, but you need all the correct ones. So is A yes, yes, no. A cannot be. Ionic compounds do not conduct when solid. That will be a metal. So for 4B, I only put 1 thing, as I thought it would only be 1 mark. That's fair enough. So you only get 1 mark then, Jack. If you only wrote 1 thing, you only get 1 mark. It's interesting, isn't it, for me not to have told you how many each question's worth. Yeah, I think there's value in me giving you this kind of exercise, Jack, where you have to, I want you to say as much as you can. Yeah, rather than focusing on how many marks the question's worth, I want to see you give your answers. So just give yourself 1 then, Jack. If you only put 1 thing, then you only get 1 mark. It's fine. Okay, next, B. Not high enough, really. No, not high enough. Does not, never conduct, so it's definitely not ionic. Nope. C, high melting point. 801, I recognize that. Sodium chloride. Doesn't conduct when solid. Yes and yes, so C is one of them. Any more? Let's check. D, high melting point, high boiling point, could be ionic. Does not conduct when solid, but does when liquid. D is. The fact that it is insoluble, fine. Some salts are not soluble. Some are, some aren't. But it conducts. The only test is that one. Yeah, so you realize that the others aren't going to be either. The only one that matters is that test there. Does it conduct when liquid? If it does, apart from the metal one, that's not true because if it conducts when solid, it then rules it out, doesn't it? Anyway, C and D. Name 1 other property of ionic compounds. Well, we've had the high melting point. It's in the table. Yeah. We've got the conductivity. So now we're going to go for brittle. If you've said hard, I'll give you hard. I don't like it, though. No, I don't. I changed my mind. No. I want you to learn brittle. Yeah, brittle's what I wanted. Next, use your knowledge of the structure to draw a diagram to show the arrangements of sodium chloride, 6 particles. So, by the way, that's 1 mark, by the way. If I only wrote C, would I get the mark? No. No, you wouldn't. Nope. You have to get both of those to get the mark, guys. Yeah, both of them. Substances are ionic. Could be plural. Yeah, so if you've missed D, no mark. If you missed D, you no mark. Next, sodium chloride, 2-dimensional, 6 particles. Doesn't matter about the size, just as long as there's nice arrangements. There you go. 2 marks. The 2 marks are for the repeating pattern. By the way, here's a problem. If you ever do this, and this happened one time, if you did it as a single line, yeah, you can still get the mark. You can. Yeah, you can have it like that. It still shows the repeating pattern. Yeah, but I always recommend to go to produce 2 layers. It's better understanding in the 2 layers, I think. There we go. First mark for it being positive, negative, or however it is. However, it doesn't matter which way you started, but the charges, and the other one is the symbols. Yeah, so 2 marks. If you've got all the symbols and they're correct in the correct order, you gain 2 marks. Yeah. That picture there is worth 2. Sodium reacts with chlorine to form sodium chloride. Write an equation for this reaction. Right. Sodium, Na. So you're not allowed to do word. It doesn't say the word word, which means you must give chemical. Sodium plus chlorine goes to sodium chloride, and balance. Don't forget to balance. There's your answer. I'm going to make that a bit thicker just to make it easier to see. There we go. Do we get the mark if we have balanced it? You have to balance it to get the mark. If you've forgotten to balance, lose it. Next type of bonding. It's on ionic, isn't it? The test is on ionic bonding. So type of bonding is ionic. Explain why the melting point is so high. Like we've been putting a setting now. Only 2 marks. We're going to run it all though. Giant ionic lattice, sodium chloride, NaCl is a giant ionic lattice, a gill. Electrostatic attraction. Between, they put us in a setting now, so let's quote them, Na plus and Cl minus ions. Electrostatic attraction, very strong. I'll be good as if I'm in an exam. Millions of attractions to break. If you said bonds there, it doesn't matter. Lots of energy needed. There we go. 2 marks, all 5 needed for the 2 marks. All 5 needed. So if you forget any one of them, you lose 1. So you could get 3 out of those and get nothing. I like it. Suggest why the melting point of sodium iodide is lower than the melting point of sodium bromide. Sodium we can ignore. Right, so the answer is that the bromide ion is smaller than iodide. That's it. 1 mark. That's it. Right, total marks. 5, 7. I don't like doing that. 5 plus 2 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 9 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 for ionic, and then 2 for number 4, 2, and then 1. What's that add up to? 5 plus 2 plus 5 plus 9 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1. 30, dead out 30. Right, you guys can add up your scores. Add up your scores out of 30. Score sheet. Well, I have no idea why so many numbers have appeared. It's weird. Unable to load. Something's going on my internet today. Wait, odd. Oh, it's better. Out of 30. When you're ready, guys, you can add on your score. Right, so guys, I'm gonna leave the YouTube video now. I'm gonna leave that one. I hope you found it useful. I'll see you over on the Google Meet chat. See you in a bit.